Hello everyone, welcome back to our IGCSE Mathematics past paper walkthrough series. I'm Hyan and I'll be your video host, and Varshini, our amazing contributor, will explain to you all about our paper today, which is paper Summer 2023, paper 22. So are you ready? Let's get started.
Hi everyone, so today we'll be doing the May-June 2023 paper. So let's go to the first question. Find the temperature that is 8 degrees centigrade colder than minus 5 degrees Celsius. Okay, so over here they want the temperature that is colder than, so we know it has to be even down, which means it has to be more negative than minus 5. So that means we want minus 5 minus their temperature, and they said 8 degrees colder than, so it's going to be minus 5 minus 8. And if you put that in your calculator or do it manually, you should get minus 13. Okay, there are two prime numbers in this list, and they've given us a list of numbers 27, 47, 57, 61, 75, and 93. Work out the sum of these two prime numbers. So the trick over here is being able to know which the two prime numbers are. So if you're not sure of your prime numbers, you can always do this manually and divide to check which of these numbers are prime numbers. So let's take 27. We know 27 can be divided by 9 and by 3. And so basically, what is a prime number? It can only be divided by itself, and 1. So 1 and x. That's all it can be divided by. And 27 has more factors, so we can rule out 27. If we take 47, we also know we can see that 47, if you try to divide it by all the numbers, let's take 47 by 3. If you put that in your calculator, you should get a decimal. If you take 47 by 9, you'll also get a decimal. And if you keep doing this method, you'll know that 47 is a prime number. Let's circle this. Now let's go to 57. An easy way to know that 57 is not a prime number is because 60 divided by 3 is 60 is divisible by 3, and 57 is just 3 away from 60, so that means 3 also has to go in 57, so this is not a prime number. If we go to 61, let's try dividing 61 by the numbers that we know of. If we do prime numbers that we know of. Let's do 61 divided by, we know 61 doesn't go in 5 or 2, so we don't have to waste time on that. Instead we can divide it by something like, we know it also doesn't go in 11. We can try dividing it by 13, and you should also not get a number. You should not get a right thing. So if you do this, you'll see that 61 is clearly not, 61 is a prime number. It doesn't have any other factors, so we can circle this. Okay, 75. We know that there's a 5 over here, so it has to be divisible by 5 because there's a 5 in the last digit. Okay, lastly, 93. We can rule out 93 because 9 plus 3 is 12, and the rule for multiples of 3 is that the sum of these two digits must equal 3. So we can rule this out. And so we have these two as our prime numbers, 47 and 61. So the sum of these will just be 47 plus 61. And you can always put that in your calculator. And you should get 108, which is our answer. Okay. Okay, on 10 days, Stefan records the number of minutes he has to wait for a train. So the minutes are 1, 3, 12, 5, 4, 23, 5, 24, 11, and 8. Complete the stem and leaf diagram to show this information. So this is the stem and leaf diagram over here, 0, 1, 2, 1, 3. And over here we can see the key is that 0 and 0 bar 1 represents 1 minute. Okay, so and he's already put down two numbers, 1 and 3. So first let's take this step by step. The first bar is 0. So let's take all the numbers that have 0 in their that have a 0, like as in do not have a tens place. And okay, so over here we already have 1 and 3. We can take these out. 12 over here, we can clearly see that it belongs in the tens. I mean, it has a 1 in the tens place, so we can leave that for later. 5. Okay, so we have 5 over here. We have 4. We have 5 again, and we can rule out these 23, 24, 11 because they all have something else in the tens place, and 8. So we have 5, 5, 4, and 8. And out of these, we know 4 is the smallest. And remember, we have to rank these in ascending order. So, my bad. Okay, yeah. So first is 4, and then next is 5. And remember, we have to write 5 twice because it comes twice. We can't just write it once, even though because it's only one number. And lastly, we have 8. Okay, so for our next, all the numbers with the digit 1 in their tens place. Here we have, so we can take out 5, 4, and okay. So now we have 12 and 11, and 11 is before 12. So remember, put a 1 here because 1 is 11, and 2. Remember, we're not writing the full number 11 and 12 because over here it says in the key that 0-1 represents 1 minute. So that means 1-1 is going to represent 11 minutes. Let me write this. 1 equals 11, and 2 equals 21. Okay, now lastly for the ones with 2 in their tens place. First, let's take out 12 and 11. Okay, we have 23 and 24, and 23 is the lower number, is the smaller number. So we're going to write 23 and 4. Okay, part B, find the median. So we know over here that the formula for the median is n plus 1 divided by 2, and n is the total, and that is the place of which the median is in. So over here, n will be our total number of numbers. So if we count these, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we have 10 numbers. So over here, 10 plus 1 by 2 is going to be 11 by 2, and that will be 5.5. So we need the 5 point. So what does 5.5 mean? It means the number in between the fifth number and the sixth number. So if we count here on our stem and leaf diagram, 1, 2. Sorry, hold on, my bad. Don't count the 0 because the 0 is just a place we want from the numbers. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So the number between 5 and 8. So if you do that, so the number, it needs to be the average of 5 and 8. So the average of 5 and 8 is nothing but 5 plus 8 by 2. And that's how you find the average, the sum of the numbers plus the number of the numbers. So 5 plus 8 by 2 is nothing but 8 divided by 2. Just put that in your calculator. And it's 6.5. So over here is 6.5 minutes. Okay. Okay, so question 4. The distance from town A to town B on a map is 3.5 centimeters. The scale on the map is 1 is to 250,000. Find the actual distance in kilometers from town A to town B. Okay, so firstly, we know that on the map, the map's 1 centimeter is going to be 250,000 centimeters in real life. Okay, so we know that for 3.5 centimeters from A to B, So firstly, what does 1 is to 50,000 mean? It means that when you multiply 1 into 250,000, we're getting 250,000. So the scale factor over here is going to be 250,000 divided by 1, which is just 250,000. Okay, so now that we have that, we're just going to multiply 3.5 into our scale factor into 250,000. And if we do that, we should get 3.5 into 250, 1, 2, 3. And you should get 875,000. Um, 875,000. But remember, this is in centimeters and we want to make it kilometers. Okay, so we know that 1 centimeter equals 100 meters and 1,000 meters equals 1 kilometer. So to convert 1 centimeter to 1 kilometer, it's going to be 100 into 1,000. And we want this in kilometers, remember, and kilometers is the bigger unit. So an easy way to remember it is that the bigger unit always has lesser numbers. So for example, 100 centimeters is going to be 1 meter. And so this way we know that we have to divide this by the conversion from centimeters to kilometers, which is going to be 100 into 1,000. Because if we divide by 100, we'll get meters. And then if you divide that whole thing by 1,000, we'll get kilometers. Okay, so over here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. We can cancel out 3 zeros and 4, 5. So we put in point over there because it's 7 and 5 are 2 digits. Okay, so we will get 8.75. 8.75 kilometers. Okay. One sec. Wait, hold on. Okay. A spinner is spun. The possible outcomes are A, B, C, or D, and the probability of spinning A, C, or D is shown in the table. So over here, A is 0.2, B is, we don't know it yet. We need to complete it and find out B. C is 0.05, and D is 0.35. Okay, so we know that for this, we know that the total sum of the probabilities probabilities equals 1. Or we can also say that the total probabilities is always going to equal to 1. So that means 0. That means if we do 0.2 plus x, yes, that's x, plus 0.05 plus 0.3, if we add these all up, we should get 1. So to find x, we have to subtract them all from 1. It's going to be 1 minus 0.2 plus 0.05 plus 0.35. And all you have to do is put that in your calculator, and you should get 0.4. 0.4. Okay. Question 6. Okay, so they've given us the symbol over here. The symbol, and we know that this over here means, it means that the total elements in a set, all the elements in the set. So this in the set, the x where x goes from 1 to 20, and 1 and 20 are both included, and there's one part which is e, which is even numbers, and m, which is multiples of 5. Okay, so they want us to find the number of elements in in just m. Okay, so we know that since m is multiples of 5, it's going to be all the multiples of 5 that are from 1 to 20. So we'll start with 5. We know it's going to be 5, 10, 15, 20. And over here, if we count these, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 elements. So the number of elements in m is going to be 4. Okay, for the next question. Find the elements in the set E intersection M. So if we draw these out, hold on. If we draw these out, these are the two things. This is the box with all the elements. So let's say this is E and this is M. Everything in here and everything in here. Okay, so E is all the even numbers. So if we list out all the even numbers, it's going to be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 2, hold on, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Now let's look at, now we have these and we also have our multiples of 5, which is just 5, 10, 15, 20. Now what are the numbers that come in both this over here and in our multiples of 5? So we can see that 10 is obviously being repeated, and so is 20. And intersection is, we do know the things that come in both of these, in both E and M. So over here, this area. So, and since we can see 10 and 20 are the only things that come in both of these areas, if we put them in here with all the elements of M as 2, 4, 6, 8, blah, 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 10 and 20 would come inside our shaded region. So the number, and they want the elements. They don't want the number of elements, they just want the elements. So that's just going to be 10, comma, 20. Okay. Y belongs to E, so we know this is a belongs to sign, and write down a possible value of Y. Okay, so no, sorry. Y doesn't belong to E. We know that a belongs to sign is this, and this is a not belongs to sign. So we want a value of Y. Okay, so it can be any number that's not even in this, in that's from 1 to 20. It could even be a decimal value because it's from any number from, and they haven't specified that x is not decimals. So to be safe, let's just take a decimal and make it anything you want. For example, 11.5. Okay. Let's go to the next question. Without using a calculator, work out 4 divided by 7, 4 by 7 divided by 1 5 by 21. So first let's make 1 5 by 21 into a mixed fraction. So for a mixed fraction, it's going to be the whole number into the denominator plus the numerator on the top divided by the denominator. So so that's just going to be 4. We already have 4 by 7. Let's write that down. 4 by 7 divided by 1 into 21 plus 5. So that's just going to be 26 divided by 21. So now that we have them both in as an improper fraction and a fraction, now let's work out this divides to sign. We know that when we're dividing fractions, all we have to do, so if it's x by y divided by p by z, it's going to be x by y into z by p. So we just have to reciprocal the other number, the second number, and make the sign into a multiplication sign. So over here, that's going to be 4 by 7 into 21 by 26. Okay, so now we just need to do 4 into 21 divided by 7 into 26. And if you put that in your calculator, you can put this in our calculator because we've shown enough working. So you should get 6 by 13. And if you're unsure, remember, always recheck it, even if you're not unsure. You have a calculator, so it's best to just recheck and make sure you get the same answer when you put these values directly into your calculator. Okay, 8, solve 30 by x equals 6. Okay, so we know 30 by x equals 6, so to get rid of the x in the denominator, uh, we just need to multiply both sides by x because they're being divided by x. So if we do 30 by x equals 6, we need to multiply both sides by x, and we'll get rid of the x on this denominator over here. So that's going to be 30 equals 6x. And now let's get rid of the 6 over here. So we instead of multiplying, we have to divide because over here 6 is multiplying into x. It's going to be 30 by 6. And that will give us 5. Okay. Part B, 11x minus 3 greater than equal to 2 into 2x plus 9. Okay, so first, we need to expand out this bracket. So we have to multiply 2 into both 2x and 2 into 9. So to rewrite this, 11x minus 3 is greater than equal to 2 into 2x is 4x, and 2 into 9 is 18. Okay. 18. Okay. So now let's move all the x terms to one side and the non-x terms to the other side. So if we take away minus 4 from one side, we're going to have to subtract it from both sides. So 11x minus 4x. And again, let's take minus 3 to the other side. So since it's negative here, we add it to both sides. Greater than equal to 18 plus 3. Okay, so now since 11x and minus 4x they have the same coefficient. They have the same x term, so we can add them or subtract them in this case. So 11 minus 4 is 7. It's going to be 7x greater than equal to 18 plus 3, which is 21. So now again, to get rid of the 7, let's divide both sides by 7. And we have x greater than equal to 3. So let's just write that here. Okay. Question 9. F is the point 1 minus 4, and vector fg, so they've given us a vector here, 8 is equal to 8 and minus 3. And we know that since 8 is on top, this is how much it's moving the x direction, and minus 3 is how much it's moving in the y direction. And vector gh is minus 12 and 35. So first of all, how would vector fg look? So if we drew a graph over here with x and y, it would be 8 in the x direction. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, somewhere over here, and minus 3. So that means instead of going upwards, it's going to go down 3. So it would be somewhere here, and the vector would be along this line. And since and this is not vector just g, but it's fg. So over here it's assuming f is at 0. But if f was at 1 comma minus 4, which would be 1 in the x-axis, and again 2, 3, 4 over here, then vector fg is going to look somewhat like this. Okay, so now first let's do the first question. First part, they want us to find 3fg. So we know that when it's 3fg, we're going to have to multiply both the x and the y into 3. That's going to be 3 into 8 and 3 into minus 3. And that is nothing but 24 and 9. So 24, 9. Okay, part B. Fg, vector fg minus gh. So sorry, plus gh. So we know we have to add again x to x and y to y. We can't add x to y or y to x. So it's going to be 8 plus minus 12 and minus 3 plus 35. So you could do this manually or just put it in your calculator to be safe. And you should get minus 4 in the x and 32 over here. Yeah. Okay. The coordinates of the point G. Okay, so we know that F is the point 1, 4, as we said. We know that F is the point 1 and somewhere over here. This is F. If this is 0. And FG is 8 minus 3. So that means you're moving 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and somewhere over here. And this would be the point G, and vector FG would just be the distance from F to G. So what are we doing here? We're doing nothing but adding 8 and minus 3 to the point F. So we know that, and let's rewrite F in the same format. So 1 minus 4. If we add FG, which is 8 minus 3, we will get G. Okay. So now we know that's going to be 1 plus 8 on the x-axis and minus 4 plus minus 3 on the y-axis. And that is just going to be 9 and minus 7. But remember, they don't want it as the vector formula. So we know that x is the first term and y is the second one. So 9 and minus 7. Okay, the magnitude of the vector gh. So we know that the formula to calculate the magnitude of any vector is just the square root of the x component squared plus the y component squared. So over here, we already have gh, which is minus 12 and 35. It's going to be, and here we know 12 is the x component, so a root of minus 12 squared plus 35 squared. And just put that directly into your calculator, and don't forget the brackets. And you should get 37. So 37 is our answer. Okay, question 10. So they've given us a graph with two shapes, and there's B shape and A shape, and they look to be the exact same size. Okay, so they've asked us to describe this fully the single transformation that maps shape A into shape B. So they said single, so we know there's only one transformation, and we can also see that A and B look the exact same, so it's not an enlargement or anything. It's and we also know that we can also tell from just looking at it that they're being reflected because the shape of B is the exact same shape of Y, and it's somewhere over along this line. You can see that it's being reflected over to give the shape of B. So describe fully the single transformation. So we know that it's a reflection and it's not in the x-axis or y-axis. It's along, we can see that to do this, we have to count the distance between them. So we know the distance between them is 1, 2. So that's 2 units on the graph. And the unit in between them, so that's 2 by 2, which is 1. So along this line, where y equals 2. So to describe fully the single transformation, all we have to say is reflection along the line y equals 2. Okay. Part B, rotate shape A 90 degrees clockwise about the point minus 1, 2. So over here we can see on the grid minus 1 is going to be here in the x-axis, and up 2 is going to be over here. So this is the point around which we need to rotate, and they want us to rotate shape A, which is this shape. So you'll get tracing paper in the exam. So what you do for this question is you keep your tracing paper somewhat like this. And then you keep your pencil on this point, and you put your tracing paper down, and then you trace shape A onto your tracing paper. And then you're going to rotate your tracing paper clockwise. So this way. You're going to rotate it like this until it looks like this instead of this. So it's going to look like this. And then your shape A is going to come somewhere in this quadrant. So you're going to redraw it after looking at where its rotated shape is. So it should look like minus 5, minus 6, minus 3, minus 6, minus 3 over here. And the last point should be at minus 4, minus 2. So that's over here. So shape should have gone over here. You just connect the lines. Use scale when you connect the lines. And it should look like this after you've rotated it. Okay, part C, enlarge shape A by scale factor minus 2, center 2, 0. Okay, so first of all, we can see that 2, 0, they want it at this point, which is 2 on the x-axis and 0 on the y-axis. So now, remember for minus 2, it's a negative number, so we have to go backwards instead of forwards. So first, let's do this. Okay, so over here we can see that it's half a box to the first point. So we're just gonna go, instead of half a box, we're gonna go 2 half boxes backwards, exactly from where we took it. So 1 and then 2. So this is gonna be our first point. Let's take out the line now. Okay, our next point will be this point. So again, we can see it's half a box to it. So we're gonna go on 1 half box and another half box backwards. And this is gonna be our second point. Let's take out the line. Okay, now let's take the back point. So here we can see it's moving 2 horizontally in 3 downward boxes. So now we're going to move 3 upwards in 2 boxes. So 3 boxes and then 2. So it's basically the vector 2, 3, 2 and 3 on the bottom. So, but this time we're gonna move it to the top. So that's 1. And then remember it's 2. So again, we're gonna do this again. So 2 in 3 boxes here. So this is going to be our next point. Let's take out the line. Okay, and lastly, the farthest point over here, we can see it's just going across 4 boxes and down 4 boxes. So we're gonna go across 4 boxes from 2, 0 over minus 2, and this time up 3 boxes, which would be over here. So now we're going to repeat that again. 1, 2, 3, 4 across, and 1, 2, 3 up. So this is our last point. Let's take out lines. Okay. Now we have our 4 points. We can connect them. Remember to use a scale. And this is our shape. Okay. 11. The diagram shows a shape ABCD formed by the sectors of 2 circles with the same center O. So this is the center O. Both sector angles are 140 degrees. So this we know is 140. And OC equals 3.2 and CB equals 2.6. The area of the shape is K into pi centimeters squared, and they want us to find the value of K. Okay, so first we know that the angle, that the area of a sector is just going to be the angle, which here would be let's take that as theta. So it's going to be theta by 360 into pi r squared. So they want the area of this shaded shape. So what we have to do for that is take the area of the entire shape and subtract. So that would be the area of all of this, and from that we subtract the area of hold on. From that we subtract this. So then we just get the black area. Okay. Okay. So now we're gonna find the area of the entire shape. So over here we can see R is going to be this full thing. So that's going to be 2.6 plus 3.2. So, and theta over here we know is 140 already. So let's just take that as C area is going to equal 140 by 360 into pi, and R will be 3.2 plus 2.6. So 3.2 plus 2.6 squared. Okay. So if you put that in your calculator, divided by 360 into, and remember, just use the pi button in your calculator. Don't use 3.14 or any like decimal or a fraction, because they want the full value always. Okay, so you should get. Remember, whatever we have here, we have to leave this in terms of pi, because they said the answer, the shape is in k pi, and so we just want the value of k, not the value of pi. So over here we should get 5887 by 540 pi. And now we have the area of the smaller sectors. So let's take that as x area is going to equal, and over here the radius is only 3.2. So we have 140 by 360 into pi into 3.2 squared. Okay, so if you put that in your calculator, you should get a decimal. So what you're going to do is just take pi away from that number, and hold on. Okay. But hold on. Whoops, my bad. 140 divided by 360 into 3.2 squared. Okay, you should get 896 by 225 pi. Okay, so since now we know, we need to add these two numbers in addition sign. Subtract 5887 by 540. We're going to subtract from that, we're going to take away this number 896 by 225. And remember that we can leave out pi because they know that the shape is multiplied into pi. So whatever we do, we can leave out pi from this, because at the end we don't need to, the multiple of pi doesn't need to be included in our answer. So now what we have to do is 5887 by 540, which is the value of the entire thing, minus 896 by 225, which is the value of this thing, the value of this area. The value of this area. Okay, so if we do that, we put that in our calculator, 5887 by 450 minus 896 by 225. We should get 9.1 exactly. And so that's going to be our answer. K equals 9.1. And also remember that, okay. For the next question. Question 13. A, B, C, and D are points in a circle. AB is parallel to DC, as you can see indicated by these two arrows. This one and this one. You can see these two lines are parallel. And ACD is equal to 32, so they've labeled it here, 32. Chords AC and DB intersect at E, over here. And they want us to find the value of x. Okay, so first, we know that angles in the same sector of the circle are equal. So what would that mean? That would mean this angle is equal to this angle. And we can also prove that because we know that angles subtended by the same arc would also be equal. So if we take this angle DCA, we can see that the arc it's going to be subtended by, draw with red, is this. Now if we take the other angle, DBA, it's also going to be subtended by the same arc, which is this. Let's take a different color to illustrate that. So DBA, wait, hold on. DBA, if you take DBA's triangle, it's going to be this arc, and DCA's triangle is going to be this arc. So we can see that this AD arc is the same. So let's take away all that marking. So now we can say that this angle is also 32. So DBA equals 32. And now we can see as these two lines are parallel, DC and AB, if we redraw this over here on the side, this line, this is CA, and we know this angle is 32. So it looks very similar to our parallel lines and everything that we have. And we know that according to the alternate angle theorem, we know that this angle, interior angles, we know this angle is also going to, not this angle, but, I think this angle, this angle. So we know this angle is also going to be 32. And so we can say that this angle over here, CAB, is also 32. And now we know that angles in a triangle add up to 180. So that means x plus 32 plus 32 equals 180. And now we just have to subtract both 32's from x. So that is going to be, hold on, 22, 116. Okay, question 14, find f inverse of x. So we have f of x equals 5x plus 2, and we know that to find f inverse of x, we have to replace x with y and f of x with x. So when we rewrite this equation, we're going to get x, substituting x into f of x, equals 5 into y plus 2. So now we need to make y the subject of the formula. So let's subtract 2 from both sides, equals 5y. And now to get rid of the 5 on the numerator, we divide both sides by 5. So divide this by 5 and divide this by 5. So we're just going to get x minus 2 by 5. Minus 2 by 5. Okay. Okay, C is the point 5 minus 1, and D is the point 13, 15, comma 15. Find the midpoint of CD, of the line CD. Okay, so we know that for 2 points, the midpoint is going to be the x1 plus x2 by 2. That's going to be the x coordinate, comma, y1 plus y2 by 2. So over here we have the two x's, which is 5 and 13. So 5 plus 13 by 2, comma, the y coordinates, which is minus 1 and 15. So since we took 5 as x1, we have to take minus 1 as y2. So minus 1 plus 15 by 2. And if you put these in your calculator or do them in your head, you should get the points as 9 and 7. Oh, sorry, minus 7. Oh, wait, no, it's just 7. Okay, part B, find the gradient of CD. So we know that for finding the gradient, it's going to be y1 minus y2 divided by x1 minus x2. So our y1 here is, again, minus 1. So over here, that's going to be minus 1 minus, and here our y2 is 15. So 15 divided by x1, which is 5, and x2 is 13. So 5 minus 13. And if you put that in your calculator, you should get 2. So 2 is our answer. Okay, part C. Find the equation of the perpendicular bisector of CD and give your answer in the form y equals mx plus c. So we know that this is the formula of a line. And we also know that for any perpendicular bisector, the gradient is going to equal the negative reciprocal 1 by g, let's say, of the gradient of the line itself. So if we look at our gradient above, we've got 2. So we know the gradient of the perpendicular bisector if we have 2 by 1. So let's put g, so we know it's going to look like 2 by 1. So that is going to become negative 2 by 1, which is going to become negative 1 by 2. So that's our gradient over here. And we also have the midpoint. So we know if this is our line, the perpendicular bisector is going to pass through the line over here, and it's going to pass through the midpoint. So we have a point on our line as well, which is, as we figured out, 9, 7. So we can substitute these two values into the y equals mx plus c formula. So y over here is 7 equals, and we already find out m, which is the gradient, to be minus 1 by 2. Minus 1 by 2 into x. And, okay, let's put this x plus c. Right, so we do know our value of x. From the midpoint, we can substitute a value of x in, which is 9. So 7 equals 1 by 2 into 9 plus c. Okay, so now let's take away 9 into 1 by 2 from both sides to find the value of c and isolate it. So we're going to get c as equal to 7 minus 9 by 2. And if you put that in your calculator, you should get 2.5. So now we have the value of c, and we don't need the value of x or y. because those are just variables. So now we can write our thing in the term of y, m, x, and c. So y equals, we know m is the gradient, so it's going to be minus 1 by 2 x plus, and c we got to be 2.5. Okay. Write 0.621 as a fraction in its simplest form. You must show all your working. And 2 and 1, we can see over here, are the repeating numbers with the dots on top. Okay, so first of all, let's take 0.621 with these two being repeating as x. So first, let's get the non-repeating side of the fraction as not as a decimal. So we're gonna have to multiply that by, we can clearly see 10 to bring the decimal point over here. So we can say that 6.21 bar equals 10x. And the second thing we need is all the numbers on the other side of the decimal. So we have to, the decimal is over here, and we need to get it 1, 2, 3. So that means we need to multiply it into into the number with 3 zeros, which is 1000. So it's going to be 621.21. Sorry, 0.21. And remember, this never goes. It's still going to be on the other side. Put a bar. 0.21 equals 1000x. Okay. Okay, so now we don't really need this first value, but we need the other values. Okay, so we have these two values. So what we need to do is subtract the 10x from the 1000x. So let's rewrite this again. 6.21 bar equals 10x. Okay, so now we just have to subtract both sides of the equation. So first, let's do 1000 minus 10. You could put that in your calculator if you wanted to. You should get 990x. So on this side of the equation is going to be 990x. On the other side of the equation, 621.21 bar minus 6.21 bar. So if we take away, so these repeating numbers, 0.21, 21, 21, 21, 21, they're the exact same in both these numbers. So they're just going to subtract and become equal to 0. So the decimal point will be 0. And now 621 minus 6 is going to be 615. 15. Okay, so now to find the value of x, which is what we want essentially, we're going to have to divide both sides by 990. And this is our fraction, 615 by 990. So now remember, this isn't simplified. If you want to simplify it, just put that value in your calculator, 615 divided by 990, and it should give you the simplified value. If not, change your settings until you have the fraction option as what your answer comes in. So that's going to give us 41 by 66. So that is our answer. Okay. Part 17. The diagram shows a triangle with an acute angle marked x degrees, and the area of the triangle is 2143 centimeters squared, and they want us to work out the value of x. Okay, so we know that for over here, it can clearly see it's not a right angle triangle, and so we know when we don't have a right angle triangle, the area of the triangle is going to be sine x into a into b into 1 by 2, and a and b are the sides which are adjacent to the angle we're taking. So in this case, it would be this side and this side, the sides which we have the lengths for. So we also know that this formula over here is equal to 2143, as they've given us the area of the triangle. Okay, so now all we have to do is substitute in the values and equate them. So these two sides, A and B. So now we can say sine x equals 92.5 into 71 into 1 by 2. Sorry, not equals to, sine x into this is going to equal 2143. So now first let's do 92.5 into 71 divided by 2. So 92.5 into 71 into 1 by 2, or you could say divided by 2, is going to give us 3283.75. So start over here, sine x into 3283.75 equals 2143. So now we want to get sine x on one side of the equation by itself. So we're going to divide both sides by this number, 3283.73. Oh, sorry, 0.75. My bad. Okay. So now we have what sine x is equal to. How do we find x? We take the sine inverse of x, which is the button on our calculator, sine to the power minus 1. Okay, so now all we have to do is put in that value in sine minus 1. So we do sine, so x is going to equal sine inverse of 2143 divided by 3283.5. Okay, so if you put that in your calculator, divided by 328, you should get 40.7. So that is our value of x. Okay. 18, make x the subject of the formula. So all we have to do here is rearrange everything. Sorry. Okay, so first, let's get rid of this denominator. So we multiply both sides by 2x minus 5. It's going to be c into 2x minus 5 equals 3x. So now let's expand all the terms. So we know we have to multiply c into 2x and c into minus 5 to get rid of these brackets. So that's going to be 2cx minus 5c equals 3x. So now what we have to do is arrange all the x terms on one side. So it's going to become 2cx. Let's move this x to the other side and also move 5c to the other side. So since x is positive, we need to subtract minus 3x from both sides over here. So we'll get 2cx minus 3x equals, now let's move minus 5c to the other side. So since it's negative, we need to add it. So it's going to become just plain 5c. So now that we have these two x terms on one side of the equation, we can factorize them out. Okay, so we just want x by itself. So what we have to do is just take x out of the equation. So we're going to write x here. And if we do 2cx by x, so now we've taken x out, factorized x out, we'll just have these numbers, 2c and minus 3. So it's going to give 2c minus 3 equals, we know, 5c. So now we just want x by itself. We want x to be subject of the formula. And since this 2c minus 3 is getting multiplied into x, we need to divide both sides by 2c minus 3. So to get rid of it here. So by 2c minus 3. And now we just have x on one side of the formula. So that's our answer. 5c divided by 2c minus 3. Okay. 19. m is inversely proportionate to the square of t plus 2, and m is equal to 0.64 when t is equal to 3. And they want us to find m when t equals 8. So first we know that for any inversely proportionate, we know that it's going to equal to, we know that y is going to equal to k divided by x. And in this case, we have m as one variable to the, and it's inversely proportionate to the square of t plus 2. We rewrite that. We know m is going to equal to k divided by, now this, the square of t plus 2. What's the square of t plus 2? We're just going to write that as t plus 2 squared. So this is our equation over here. So now to find the second part, we need to find the value of k. And in order to find the value of k, we just have to substitute in these two values. So we know m is 0.64 when t equals 3. So we can rewrite this over here, replacing m with 0.64 equals k divided by, and we replace t with 3. So it's going to be 3 plus 2 squared. So now to find the value of k, we're going to multiply both sides by 3 plus 2 whole squared to get rid of this thing on the denominator. 2 whole squared into, and 3 plus 2 is 5, so let's write that as 5 squared. So now we just need to put 5 squared into 0.64 in our calculator, and we should get k equals 16. Okay, but now we don't want the value of k, remember, we want the value of m when t is equal to 8. So now this equation over here that we have, m equals k by t plus 2 whole squared, we can rewrite this since we know the value of k. So m is going to equal to k with 16 divided by t plus 2 whole squared. And now we know t is also 8. We want to find m when t is equal to 8. So again, we have the value of t. So m equals 16 by 8 plus 2 whole squared, which is just 10 whole squared, really. Hold on. 8 plus 2 whole squared. So now, if we put this in our calculator, 16 divided by 10 squared, we should get 0.16. And that is going to be our value of m. Question 20. In the Venn diagram, shade the region A union B intersection, A intersection B complement intersection C. So what does this mean? It essentially means the region that's part of A, that's also part of B intersection, and that's also part of C. So what we do is shade each of these regions individually and see which overlaps. So A, we know it's just going to be this whole circle. And B complement is going to be everything outside of B. Let's take a different color for B. Let's take blue. Okay, so everything outside of, so if this is, hold on. So if this circle is B, we want everything that doesn't come in B. So that's going to be everything outside of B. Let's shade loosely. And lastly, C. So let's take pink. We know C is going to be this circle. Okay, so now let's look for the part that has green, red, and purple. So we can clearly see it's this part. This part has all three colors, so we know that's going to be the overlap between them. So now let's just remove all the extra shading and just shade this part. Okay. Hold on, sorry. No, it wasn't this part. It was just Okay, so if we bring everything back, this part, okay, solve the equation 5 sine x equals negative 3 for 0 smaller than x, which is smaller than 360. Okay, so first, let's get sine x on one side. So we have to divide both sides by 5 for that. So sine x equals minus 3 divided by 5. Okay, and now that we have that, we can also draw our unit circle over here, and we know the coordinates are A, S, T, C. A being where all the acute angles are positive, S is just where sine is positive, T is where tan is positive, and C is where cos is positive. But over here we can see that it's negative 3 by 5, so we want the areas where sine is negative. So that is going to be in this quadrant and in this quadrant. Okay. So now we also know, so now we can find the value without it being negative. So we're just going to take the sine inverse of 3 by 5. And if you put that in your calculator, 3 divided by 5, you should get 36.9 if you round it off. 36.9. Okay, so now remember we want the value of sine in this tan quadrant and the cos quadrant. So right now we found it over here in A. So to find it in tan, we're going to do 180, which is this line, minus our angle. So then it will come over here. Sorry, 180 plus our angle, since it's going in clockwise. So our first one is going to be 180 plus 36.9, the first angle. And we also know it's negative in cos theta. So over here we can also find it. We also know that if this is 360, we have to go backwards by our angle to find it over here. So that is going to be 360 minus the angle we got, which is 36.9, the base angle. So over here, 180 plus 36.9, if you put that in your calculator, you should get 216.9. Remember, for all angles, we can't leave them in three significant figures, but it has to be to one decimal place always. Over here, 360 minus 36.9 is going to be 323.1. So just rewrite these again in the blank, these two values. Okay, question 22. Write as a single fraction in its simplest form. They've given us a fraction with a bunch of x terms. 5 by 3x plus 2 plus 4 by 2x minus 1. So we know that to add these, we have to make them have a common denominator. And the only way to do this for when the terms have x in the denominator is multiply the two denominators. So the common denominator, that is d, is going to be 3x plus 2 into 2x minus 1. So that means for this term, we're multiplying this denominator, which is already as 3x plus 2. We're just multiplying that into 2x minus 1. And so to make this number the same, we have to also multiply the numerator by 2x plus minus 1. It's going to be 5 into 2x minus 1. And for this number, we have 4 by 2x minus 1. We're multiplying the denominator into 3x plus 2. So it means we also have to multiply the numerator into 3x plus 2. Okay, so now let's find the numerators. So first let's take this one. 5 into 2x minus 1. So we know that we have to multiply 5 into 2x and 5 into minus 1 to get rid of the bracket. So 5 into 2 times x is going to be 10x, and 5 into minus 1 is just minus 5. Now, and we know the denominator, and our denominator is going to be the same for both, which is just 2x minus 1 into 3x plus 2. And now our second fraction, this one, we know that, again, we have to multiply 4 into 3x and 4 into 2. So 4 into 3x is 12x, and 4 into 2 is 8, so plus 8. And again, it's divided by our same denominator, 2x minus 1 into 3x plus 2. So now since these denominators are now finally the same, we can add them. So to add them, let's extend this line, make a plus sign. This different. We don't need this because remember, when you add them, you leave the denominator and just add the numerators. So now that we have two x terms on the top, 10x and 12x, we can add them, and we also have minus 5 and 8, which we can also add. So 10x plus 12x, it's 10 plus 12, which is going to be 22x. So let's look. So we're 22x. And minus 5 plus 8 is going to be 8 minus 5, which is 3. It's going to be 22x plus 3. And on the denominator, we can leave them as this big multiple because the question is only 3 marks. So it's going to be 2x minus 1 into 3x plus 2. Okay, for our next question, bag A and bag B each contain red sweets and yellow sweets, and Anna picks a sweet at random from bag A, and Ben picks a sweet at random from bag B. The probability that Anna picks a red sweet is 2 by 5, and the probability that Anna and Ben both pick a yellow sweet is 1 by 10. And they want us to find the probability that Anna and Ben both pick a red sweet. Okay, so for this, that they both pick a red sweet, we need to know Ben's probability of picking a red sweet because we already know Anna's. Okay, so we know the probability that they both pick a red sweet is P of red sweet that Anna picks into P of red sweet that Ben picks. Over here, we don't have this. We don't know what Ben's probability of picking a red sweet is. But we do know that there are only 2 sweets in the bag, red and yellow. And if Anna's probability of picking a red sweet is 2 by 5, the probability of a yellow sweet, that's P of yellow for Anna, is going to be 1 minus 2 by 5. Because there are only red and yellow sweets in the bag, and the total probabilities have to be 1. So that is just going to be 3 by 5. You also know that the total is 5, so 5 minus 2 is 3. So that's going to be 3 by 5. And the probability that Anna and Ben both pick a yellow sweet is 1 by 10. So we know that for both, it's multiplication, not addition. Addition would be R. So that means the probability of yellow for both is going to be the probability of yellow of Anna, which is 3 by 5, into the probability of yellow of Ben, of, let's just say Ben, into B, is going to equal, we know what it equals, 1 by 10. So B over here, to find B and make this subject of the formula, we're just going to divide both sides by 3 by 5. And if you just put that directly into your calculator, 1 divided by 10 divided by 3 by 5, you should get 1 by 6. So we know B, that the probability that Ben picks the yellow sweet is going to be 1 by 6. And now that we have that he picks a yellow sweet, we know the probability of him picking a red sweet is the same as Anna. We just have to do, since there are only red sweets and yellow sweets in the bag, it's just going to be 1 minus 1 by 6. Okay? So that is just going to be 5 by 6. Let's write this as P of red, Ben, for Ben. Okay, So now we know that's 5 by 6. And we also know that the probability that Anna picks a red sweet over here we calculated is 3 by 5. Yeah, we don't really need the probability of Anna picking a yellow sweet. Sorry. We have the probability of her picking a red sweet. And now they want that they both pick a red sweet. Again, we know both, so we're going to multiply. So P of Anna picking a red sweet is 2 by 5. Into the probability of Ben picking a red sweet, which you calculated to be 5 by 6. And if you put that in your calculator, you should get 1 by 3, which is our final answer. And that's the end of the paper for today.
So I think that's the end for today's episodes. Thank you, Varshini, and thank you all for listening. Don't forget to hit subscribe to stay tuned for more episodes. See you in the next episode. Goodbye.